Hello and welcome to Caching Waves. This is your update for Solana. First of all, real quick on the daily, I've been expecting another move here to the downside, to the 618 on log scale, which is down at 1361 as you can see. But the reactions over the overnight of how aggressive this move is has me wondering potentially if we do need to come a bit higher. Now there's a couple ways to count this. I had the alternative that this is a 1-2, 1-2, and then we take off to the upside. But I'm still not convinced on that because on log scale, if you run your extensions, this A wave off the B, or on linear, I mean, came to the 1-to-1 extension, which you wouldn't expect a second 1-2 to come to. You'd expect the 1-2 to come between 382 extension and 618 there you see in white, and we get another 1-2 before we take off. Now it is slightly above it, which would lead indications where if we are bullish, we'd expect even higher targets than normal above the 1.618 extension. But that's besides the point at the moment. Sorry, that's just the alternative I'm keeping in mind if for whatever reason we get 5 waves out of this. If this is a 3-wave correction too, my minimum requirement, as you know, this is more of my own personal guideline, is we'd expect at least 33% in time, you see in gray there, for this wave to correct itself. And you can see we came up shy. The pivot was just shy of that. Again, not a rule, just a guideline, but that's what I would expect, at least that amount, usually between the 618 and the 1-to-1. So a couple of things I'm considering is if this gets rejected here, we're at the 1.618 extension, does this turn into, you know, a complex correction? Then we come to the downside, just because it's so impulsive at the moment. I was expecting this to, that was a 1-2. I was expecting this to kind of drag out a little bit longer rather than moving so quickly in time. So I missed this trade altogether, which was kind of frustrating. As you know, in my last video, I had this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially, and I had this down here looking for a buy in this area. Clearly did not get that, and we got an extended 5th. Now we got the same thing in Rune. If you want to check out that video, I just did one. We at least came to a 382, so I got a partial fill, but we made essentially the same move. It just took off. So we're getting obviously extended 5ths. So I would have this as flat here. This has to be adjusted a little bit. 4th would be over here. We'd have a running flat correction. And this would be right here. Not a big difference, but every little bit matters. And then we had our 1, 2, 3, 4 working on our 5th. Let me check if there's any divergence on the RSI. Yeah, a little bit of divergence. So one thing when you see divergence after a higher high like this is it can either be the 5th wave top, the divergence between the 3 and the 4. If you follow that wave, you know you can usually see that. I don't rely on that much because you also see divergence in a flat pattern where this comes down and then you get double divergence. We get another 5th, like so, make higher highs and make double divergence. But it is a good indication that we are quite a bit oversold here, and we'll probably get either rejection or at least a decent sized correction soon. As you can see in log scale, we're coming up to the 1.618 extension of our proposed A wave for our C. And I believe on linear, we've already passed it. So coming up between this 50 and the 618 area in linear, we're already in there on log scale. So what I'm going to do, so since our targets are further away on log, so we can come as high as up to this 2.236 to complete our wave. I mean, we can go higher than that, obviously. It's just a guideline, but expecting a correction, even if this is a third wave, pretty soon. So alternatively, I mentioned to you that 1212. This would have to be some sort of leading diagonal, if that's the case, and this is a 1-2. And we'd be looking for a 3 here, 4 down to the 100-ish area, and our 5th up here. Now, if we get something like this, I probably will change my bias to the larger bullish correction and look to take a long down in this area after the larger correction, once this is a larger one too. But it's not going to stop me from taking the short, even though this is pretty impulsive, obviously, but we're right in the sell zone, and we haven't reached that 0.33 I mentioned earlier. Now we have reached the 0.33 in time on this down correction. You can see that in gray. Right there is the minimum. Again, I'd expect a B wave to be between the 618 and the 1-to-1 of this down move as an A, B, C. But that's my minimum requirement. So since we've hit the minimum requirement, I will take my short in this area. I haven't done it yet, but I should get pretty good entries. I usually do a 38250 and a 618, but didn't need to on this one because I was anticipating this move. So going to take a short right now, since we have that first divergence. I'll take another short at the 618, and my stop is at this high over here. Make sure I get right on the pivot. And on Binance, that is 32.13. Looking to target that $13, $14 area showed you before. I believe it's that on log scale. Yeah, 1361 area to attack this low here. So let's get back to that. Because there is a lot of other correction ways we could make. Like we could come back down here, make another attempt, and then collapse, and this just becomes a bigger A, B, C, or WXY, and we do extend out in time, like I like to see between the 618 and the 1-to-1. But I'm going to take this short and look to bail out if we get that 3, 4, 5, and this becomes a 5-wave pattern in itself here, because I'd expect that to be either an A wave or a wave 1. If we get 5, no overlap, extensions fit the way they should, and I'm still short in this, remember my stop will be up at this high, so I'd probably bail out of my trade in profit down here somewhere where an Elliott wave would invalidate itself to the upside. So that's what I'm going to do, guys. My short, I'm going to take a short right in this area as well as at the 618 on log scale. My stop's at this high and looking to reject very soon. And if we do fill out in 5 waves, I'll look to get out of my trade in profit on the ABC correction before expecting further upside. Hope I didn't overcomplicate this too much. If you're a little more risk adverse, you can switch to linear and take your shorts there. I prefer to go the closer of the prices, just so I don't miss the trade. But either way, my stop's going to be here at the top. Short. See, we get right in around this area, targeting that 1361 down here. So it'll be probably a slightly 1.5 to 1 trade currently at the moment. All right, guys, that's the update on Solana. Either have an ABC finishing very soon, 335, just getting an extension here in the 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or again, we'd expect to reject after that to the downside. Or if we come up, tag this area, but just drift sideways and get that fifth, I'll look to bail out of my trade once we correct this potential 5-wave impulse. All right, and that's how I'm going to handle it. And based on how the waves fill out and print, we'll flip long based on what we get. We won't know till it happens. So anticipating the short for now, looking to flip long if the waves fill out a certain way. All right, guys, thanks for watching.